back to another episode of Robeast Reviews. I am your host, Robeast, and today we're going to talk about something that's a little controversial, a little divisive within the modern action figure and toy collecting community, and that is crowdfunding, and specifically crowdfunding toys. If you're a modern collector and you've been collecting for a while, you know that the availability of buying toys at the retail level has gotten much more difficult, as we have now all had to contend with the modern store exclusives and basically being left without, outside of maybe the specialty market, specialty stores, comic book stores, really what we're left with is whatever that Target and the Walmarts and maybe even like the Best Buys are willing to offer us, what they're willing to stock the shelves. And with that, with the what seems like daily shrinking toy sections at the retail level, with that is the loss for a lot of companies and a lot of toy lines is the loss of large-scale items, large-scale figures, and play sets. For instance, Hasbro's Star Wars lines, the original 70s Kenner Star Wars line was a line built on vehicles and play sets. The modern collector, maybe not everybody in the toy community is looking for those large scale items, whether it's a playset, a vehicle, or just large scale figures. But there's definitely that need. There's definitely a space in the modern action figure collectors community who are dying for those large scale items, those one of a kind, unique large scale items. Crowdfunding and crowdsourcing isn't anything new, even for toys. And in the last few years, lots of toys have been produced in all different scales and price points, have been crowdfunded to success. Whether it's like unique and original IPs, or boutique companies who bought the license for maybe an older brand. Sectars being one great example. Those are great figures. Had a lot of support from the community. And then Boglins, a lot of people are excited that, the Boglins are coming back. But with that, big corporate toy manufacturers have also gone that route. Most notably, Hasbro and their HasLabs produced items. Super 7's done it with, their Masters of the Universe Classics lines. They've gone that route for Castle Grayskull and for Snake Mountain. With maybe not, the positive reception for every aspect of that, those items and the way that those items were produced. But I think most notably has been HasLab and Hasbro's decision to go the crowdfunding route for some of these very large scale, very impressive releases. I know that there's people out there who are excited. I know when, for instance, when in the Marvel Legends community, when that HasLab Sentinel was announced, at least in my, maybe limited social media, the toy community that I was seeing, was pretty stoked about it. They were pretty excited about it. In fact, it got funded immediately and then blew through multiple tiers to the point where Hasbro actually had to say, like, just stop. Like, we can't even give you any more. Like, let's stop funding this. And what they were able to provide us with was amazing. Multiple heads and multiple figures. That Gideon figure is pretty cool, and all these extras. And that's cool. And like I said, I felt like the community was really behind that item. Because at the size, and Hasbro and specifically Marvel Legends has given us multiple Sentinels in the past. That the original Build-A-Figure Sentinel based off the Mark Silvestri art, that's still a very wanted item. I'm sitting right next to it. I still love that figure. But, at the really epic, huge scale that HasLab is willing to do, obviously I don't feel like that was something that was going to sell at retail. Just at the price points and try that one more time. At that price point and size, I feel like it was a good decision to go the crowdfunding route. Now, I know that there are people out there, there's a lot of YouTube channels who've gone on record as saying that they just feel that big corporate entities like Hasbro, who have the refunds, who have the resources, not the refunds, the funds and the resources, that they shouldn't be going the crowdfunding route, that should be something that's left to people who don't necessarily have the resources of a Hasbro or a Mattel or a, large scale corporate toy company. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I can see both sides of the argument. I feel like, we'll use as an example Jabba's sail barge. That was a huge item that I don't feel would have worked at retail. And ultimately, I don't even really... I know there's like this weird... A lot of people would feel like it's greedy or evil for Hasbro to go the crowdfunding resource. But at the end of the day, I don't really see what the problem is. You pay for it. You get it. If you want it, you pay for it and you get it. Hasbro makes it. The end. You get the item. Hasbro gets the money. They're able to make the item come to life because they ensured that there was enough of an audience, enough of a market for that item. So they get the item made and boom, it's made. You bought it. You wanted it. I like that, for instance, like Super 7, when they announced Snake Mountain, that was going to be a very large, expensive item, and they gave you the option for payment plans. I believe it was $100 a month for 6 months. But yeah, I feel like, look, if you want the item, you're going to buy it either way. So whether it's crowdfunded or if it's just you buy it at the retail price, I think, one, this helps curb fucking the evil that is the scalper, it's a whole other argument I don't want to get into on this video, but I feel like it's in 2021, in this modern age, it's a viable route to produce toys. Whether you were a boutique, small, one-man, small-scale toy manufacturer, toy producer, or if you're Hasbro's, your Mattels, even your Super 7s. I really don't see the problem. But, there is still a lot of animosity in the toy collecting community because of it. With that said, I feel like if it continues to be successful, we'll use a perfect example. Most recently, is the Unicron deluxe scale figure that HasLabs put out. Wow, I am not even a Transformers collector, and man, I want that figure. It is glorious. If I still remember, I saw Transformers the movie in the theater with my older brother and my twin brother. Shocked that there was profanity in the movie, but man, I remember leaving the theater wanting a Unicron figure, and man, what HasLabs was able to produce is insane. There have been other Unicron figures out there, I'm sure most of you know, but they pale in comparison to the scale and the sculpt of that new HasLabs Unicron. And to me, that's amazing. I feel like, look, if you have the $500 to spend on a toy, whether it's at a retail location or if it's a pre-order online or if it is a crowdfunded, produced figure, what is the difference? Now, I have missed... I didn't purchase the Sentinel. I think, first off, I have multiple Sentinels and at this point, very limited display space. And frankly, I just didn't have the funds at the time to purchase that Sentinel. Do I regret it? Yes. Do I wish I had... Would I buy it right now if it was available? Yes. Will I be paying secondary prices for it? Hell no. No. And there's not a chance in hell. So I lost out on it. But you know what? That's how that works. As somebody who buys a lot of Japanese import toys and figures, look, a lot of those items are sort of, if you see it, buy it, because if you don't, you'll never see it again. And the secondary market, the prices go through the roof, and it becomes almost a crime to pay those secondary market prices. And I'm okay with that. That's why these days with companies like Big Bad Toy Store and the companies that do offer to pre-order these items, especially the way that Big Bad Toy Store does it, I feel like we have enough of an opportunity to get those items. If your problem is that, crowdfunding has a limited time, like a limited window of availability for you to be able to afford that item, like I said, Super 7 has went the route of the payment plan option. I don't actually know. I guess I should have done the research, but I don't know if Hasbro and the HasLab items went that route or if had that available. I think the only thing I bought from actually the Hellfire Club I think it was just a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. But either way, it's going to be one of those things where, regardless of how much animosity the toy community might have, there's still enough people who are funding those items and buying those items that they're going to continue to go down that route. Again, if there's an issue with, being able to afford the equivalent large price to those massive figures and items, then, that's a discussion I think the toy community needs to have and have with the manufacturers. But, at the end of the day, my feeling is, if you want that item, you're going to get the item. So whether you buy it on the shelf at Target, or if you pre-order it, or if you help fund the item to get made itself, to me, it's all the same thing. If you feel differently, let me know in the comments. I would love to, hear the argument, against it. But again, I think it's something that as toy collectors, we have to recognize is going to be here. It's going to be an avenue that maybe gets explored even more as those large items get produced. Not all of them have been successful. The large Cookie Monster, which is really cute. I like Cookie Monster, but I don't know why they went that route. That was definitely a misstep. So not everything is going to get, the same sort of reaction that the Marvel Legends Sentinel had or the Unicron had. But I feel it's going to be with us for a while. So yeah. Again, let me know in the comments. Please hit like and subscribe. And until next time, keep buying the figures you like.